Welcome back. It's time for our book review segment. A new children's picture book brings the message of conservation home gently and beautifully, and also powerfully so. It's captured in the book. It's called Libo and the Leopard, Keeper of the Stars. It's by Emily Child, and it serves as a bridge between culture, conservation, and just the wild heart of Africa as well, because it is inspired by the work of conservationists like Tristan Dickerson from Panthera. And the book, it invites young readers into a story about tradition and transformation, but also just why it's important to protect leopards for future generations to come. So Tristan Dickerson, program coordinator at First for Life Panthera as well, is joining us virtually to chat a little bit further on behalf of Emily. Thank you. Tristan, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Sorry about the backdrop, but I'm at an airport flying back from another cultural gathering. So I appreciate the time.
Well, we're on the move. Let's get things going, because this, book obviously looks at the importance of conservation and leopards as well. And leopards are described as the keeper of the stars. It's a very cosmic, spiritual way to look at that experience. Tell us a little bit more about that and how it was balanced through this book for children to understand the importance of them in the ecosystem.
Yeah, so obviously leopards are keystone species, and as the stars, are part of our universe. And if we protect the keystone species, we're actually protecting everything around them, the prey species, the forests, the animals. And it feeds off that every leopard is a star, and if you kill a leopard, you lose a star. And it's kind of symbolic of, the pollution, the light pollution, the skies just aren't as bright as they used to be. So we're connecting that, to the spirits of a leopard. And that's kind of where the background of this is. And obviously it's important that the children connect with this. That's why we did the audiobook, is that they actually, inside is a free audiobook. They can actually hear the forest, hear the sounds, which are dwindling with time.
Tristan, thank you for speaking to that. I want to balance this conversation now by also looking at the role of tradition, because the book in itself suggests that tradition can evolve without disappearing. Why am I saying this? Because it's important to communicate those nuances, especially when you are going to have to respond to some critics who feel that conservation threatens cultural identity as well, given our own unique context as South Africa and the continent. Tell us a little bit more about how that was achieved.
I mean, the program First for Life is based around conserving culture. If we lose the big cats, then they can't perform these cultural ceremonies with the beauty of these cats. So we're conserving the cats in order to conserve culture, in order to conserve jobs, employment. Now, heritage furs, which is the fur creation we have made to reduce the demand on wild cats, keeps the beauty of these events and cultural ceremonies whilst conserving wildlife. So it's a win-win for everyone. We work with the leadership of these groups. We work with kings to make sure that they're part of this process, and the adoption rates of the heritage furs then is increased.
Okay, well, so Tristan, also just in getting back to the actual leopard story, because I know Emily Child penned thoughts to paper here, and Mary Ann obviously was a beautiful illustrator. But you yourself inspired the making of this book. 15 years working with leopards, you managed to look at their behavior, their resilience as well. And I wonder if you can tell us what surprised you the most about them, how adaptable they are, particularly as they're living on the edge in South Africa today.
Yes, so they are really resilient. I've had experiences where a mom leopard is poached and it leaves behind a 5-month-old cub, which in any other species would be the demise of that animal. But this cub shifted its behavior to eating insects. And that's what makes them so special. They survive, they're solitary, they're powerful, they're symbolic of power. And that's kind of what got them into trouble with cultures, because of the symbolism and their beauty. So they are the most amazing, resilient creature, but that's kind of what got them into trouble.
Well, they're apex predators. They're also mysterious. There's that allure as well, majesty. I mean, they're cats as well. And even towards the end of the book, I mean, Emily also explores the work of a panthera, protecting 40 wildcat species globally as well. Tell us a little bit more about the work that's been done on that front and where African leopards rank in urgency when you compare them to other cats like lions and cheetahs, jaguars, etc.
Yeah, so Panthera focus on conserving the wildcat species from around the world. Leopards have lost over 60% of their historical range, and where they do occur, they're at much lower densities than they used to be. So we need to focus on them. The tiger and the lions are in greater difficulty, but as their numbers drop, the shift is kind of going towards leopards. So with leopards, if we can get in now and be proactive with their conservation, we've got a chance. Where with tigers and lions, a lot of effort and finance is going to have to go into saving those species. And that's why we kind of climbing onto it. But Panthera is ahead of the curve in a lot of this. No one else is doing this demand reduction work like Furs for Life. But Panthera also focuses on other things, habitat security, prey species. You've got to look at the whole ecosystem if you want to conserve cats.
And I mean, even the broader conversation about reshaping the ecosystems, because climate change is a huge deal or phenomenon that we're obviously having to navigate. And we're seeing the impact on leopard territories as well, the support. How do we keep the conversations going with you, with Emily, as well as this book obviously now has been entrusted to the next generation to keep all of that conservation work?
Yes, so the next generation is obviously crucial, and that's why we did a children's book. A lot of the elders, they see us as threatening culture, which we're obviously not trying to do. We're trying to conserve culture, but it's the new generation that can make the change. I think that's very important, and a lot of conservation leaves the people aspect out of it. Furs for Life, we focus on the people aspect. We work with these user groups to understand why they're using the furs, and work with them to come up with solutions instead of just doing site security arrests, etc. So the children are our generation, and they're very influential on their parents.
Well, the conversation continues. Let's leave ours there for now. Libo and the Leopard, Keep of the Stars. It's by Emily Child, but this morning we were joined by Tristan Dickerson. On behalf of her, he's the program coordinator at Furs for Life and Panthera, also the inspiration behind the book. Thank you for unpacking that with us here on our book review segment. Thanks, Tristan. Let's leave it there. Take a